Good evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. Well, it is truly a disheartening situation when it comes to the suffering and pain that the people of Amazonia have been facing, from marginalization to annihilation and even unspeakable acts of violence like rape. The people of Amazonia have been subjected to unimaginable horrors. The list of atrocities from the genocidal and extortionist regime stems from genocide to extortion to massacres unending. And the recent increase in the burning of markets is just adding to the ongoing turmoil. It is a deeply distressing situation. To add to this long list is the Colonial Council increasing rent, and we wonder why now? While our republic has in recent times and in the past tried to sabotage Ambazonia's economy by outright destruction, the Amazonian State Army have as well done their bit in successfully sabotaging theirs, as has been seen in the state of their coffers at the moment, which is obviously empty. Well, we'll see what's happening on the home front vis-a-vis the struggle of liberation and on the international scene. All of that coming up right after the prime headlines.
Here are the prime headlines for tonight. In what he calls a consolation visit, Archbishop Andrew Nkia fails to meet the aspirations of devastated traders of the Bamenda main market. Merchants of the Ntarinkan market joins those of the Bamenda main market to seal their shops in protest of the Colonial City Council's rent hike. The high cost of living and the plight of the Ambazonian woman at home front caused by the senseless war is a report we will be examining today. Colonial Council doubles taxes of petty traders in Oku. Heavy-duty traders protest bad upstation downtown road conditions in Bamenda. On the African scene, Kenya's president reaffirms commitment to deploy a police force to Haiti. Meanwhile, Putin says he's ready to use nuclear weapons if Russian state at stake. Now let's get the news in full preference. Tonight, we will go through a series of reports that will reveal the plight of the people of Ambazonia. First off, the road network in the entire Ambazonian territory is ridiculous. Life in itself is difficult for Ambazonians, from the colonial gendarmes extorting and collecting bribes to marginalization to the very poor road networks. The sufferings are immense. This is our focus as we examine the poor road network in Bamenda. The dilapidated roads are abandoned and they keep getting worse with no signs of work by La Republic to Cameroon. This goes a long way to tell us that the two Cameroons are two different entities that should stay apart. That's why we agree with those that say that La Republic du Cameroon does not care about the people in Ambazonia. Now, the road in Ambazonia, as compared to those in La Republique du Cameroon, depicts the climax of marginalization of the people of Ambazonia. There is a gross disparity in the Cameroons of roads in Ambazonia and La Republique du Cameroon. The roads in Ambazonia are not only bad, but a threat to human existence. Entering Bamenda from the station is a terrible issue. The bad nature of the upstation downtown road has forced bus drivers to start a strike action. These drivers are now willing to risk their lives and those passengers to use the stretch of route again. On this sad note, we start on Dante tonight. How are you doing, Steph?
Good evening, Onye, very well. Good evening, Ambazonians. Well, transporters in Bamenda and principally bus drivers have organized a protest to highlight the deteriorating state of a once busy route, the upstation to downtown stretch, through the new road, expressing frustration and concerns for safety. Today, the upstation area was filled with parked vehicles as drivers avoided the new road stretch due to concerns about accidents and passenger safety. Speaking to Undaunted, one of the drivers opined that the road is horrible, and in his words, we are scared to use it because our vehicles can somersault, putting the lives of the passengers at risk. This is one impassioned bus driver lamented. The said stretch is now a challenging experience for both passengers and motorists. The route has been thrown into chaos by potholes and rough patches, resulting in significant delays and leaving many stranded at the Colonial Governor's Junction. Another bus driver stated that his destination is Ndop, but still stuck at Upstation. A traveler as well complained the security forces are preventing vehicles from passing. Now, traveling from the upstation to downtown along the new road, numerous dangerous areas have appeared, making it very risky for everybody using the road. This is just one of the many challenges sections along this stretch of road, and an eyewitness said vehicles overturning there are very frequent. A caring resident as well also opined and reflected the feelings of many impacted by the harsh conditions of this road.
Addressing the driver's concerns, the Colonial Senior Division of the Mazam, Simeon Emil Mo, explained that the restriction was an administrative decision to prevent heavy-duty vehicles and buses from descending through the Finance Junction. This measure aims to prevent further degradation of the Governor's Junction to Finance Junction section, which is rapidly deteriorating. As the colonial administration of Mason has promised to address the issue of deteriorating roads, drivers and locals are becoming more and more frustrated. The upcoming rainy season emphasizes the importance of repairs and maintenance. Following a brief discussion, a temporary agreement was reached enabling drivers to take a direct and different route from the Colonial Governor's Junction through the Finance Junction to downtown.
Nevertheless, the community stands together in urging for faster rehabilitation work on the recently constructed road section. We cannot afford to wait, emphasized a concerned person. The rainy season will soon show its ugly side, and we cannot afford to wait. With the protest calming down, all eyes are now on the local authorities to fulfill their commitments to enhancing infrastructure. People of Bamenda are eagerly anticipating the day when their daily travels will no longer be disrupted by the challenges they currently face. We wonder, when will this end? Can anyone hearing and seeing the suffering blame the people of Ambazonia for fighting for her independence? Well, you know the answer. It is a definite no.
Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Ambas Bay, the iconic Fako Mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of southern Cameroons, the stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifest in the unity of the land's 13 counties. Encircling this earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its arc, untouched and serene. As it sours with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land.
Right, so away from the bad words, let's see the plight of the Amazonian woman. In the African history and tradition, men usually bore the responsibility to dig burial grounds for burials of members of their families. But in Ambazonian today, we see mothers, ladies, and young girls digging to bury their fathers, husbands, and brothers. This is definitely a taboo. Research has proven that a packet of the most basic disposable sanitary parts in the Cameroons costs as high as 600 francs CFA and over 1,000 francs CFA in some conflict-ridden rural communities of the southern Cameroons, Ambazonia. The recent increase in transportation fares, in addition to the increase in fuel prices and other taxes, in an over-centralized allowing public to Cameroon governance system is overbearing. A cup of Gary that used to be 10 francs is now 100 francs in war-torn Ambazonia. And so you see, everything is expensive. How does the woman feed her family and children?
Well, good question. Let's take a look at other plights of the Amber woman. Nena Helen, an 18-year-old Mutef school child, when the Colonial Republic barbaric military stormed the village in October 2019, fright made villagers scatter in various directions, especially into the Mutef Ije mountain forest. Nena Helen, who was approaching her menstrual period, was among the unfortunate villagers who would spend over 48 hours in the forest until they were assured the military had returned to their base in Fondong, the headquarters of Boyo County. Now, since the incident was unforeseen and unexpected, Helen didn't take along with her any sanitary pad, and that is if she even had. For the time she was in the bush, she had no option but to use pieces of old clothes. She had no option but to use these clothes to manage her situation. Nana Helen might have been lucky to have access to even these pieces of clothes. Not the same fate for another person named Rosemary Ayuk, who was 21, who was kidnapped sometime in 2021 and held in captivity by the ADF of Ayabacho for a week in one of the villages in Mamfe in Manu County of the southern Cameroons. Now, for attempting to go to school against their orders, given the dire condition in the bush, Rosemary had to make do with leaves to manage her cycle during the time she was held in captivity, with all the attendant consequences. Helen and Rosemary might have faced serious challenges because of the situation they went through. But then Fien Hilda, an 18-year-old, although living in a relatively calm environment in Tinifoimbing in the Njidicom local government area of Boyo County, had to make do with pieces of toilet papers because she could not afford to purchase a sanitary pad in her community. The travails of Helen Rosemary Hilda and so many other women may seem isolated incidences and minute, but then in reality, they are the microcosms of the challenges the girls and women in war-torn Amazonia have been going through since the war outbroke, and claimed over 50,000 lives and displaced hundreds of thousands and burnt over 600 homes and more in the last 7 years.
Well, information from the Cameroon's National Coalition of Adolescent Girls and Young Women holds that despite the role menstrual products play in maintaining hygiene and good health, many women in the Cameroons, especially those in the ravaging war-torn of the Amazonia, are unable to afford or otherwise lack access to these basic necessities, and as a result, some women and adolescent girls who menstruate have resorted to unsafe or unsanitary options, including the usage of leaves. Can you imagine that? Clothes, dust, toilet papers, paper towels, socks, used paper bags, papers, or a single sanitary pad could be used for a longer period than recommended. How sad. This lack of the purchasing power, according to the National Coalition of Adolescent Girls and Young Women, has devastating medical consequences and may result in urinary tract infections, cervical cancer, vulvar contact dermatitis, yeast infections, bacterial, and more. This situation has been more prevalent in the Western Ambazonia. This is therefore lamentable. So the National Cameroon and Coalition of Adolescent Girls and Young Women continues that despite these challenges, women and girls have continued to bear the brunt with indiscriminate increase in the prices of sanitary products, as if menstruation was a luxury than a natural basic occurrence ascribed to females within the natural age which permits the process.
Oh, well, given that the minimum wage is as low as 41,875 francs CFAs, which is grossly insufficient to meet basic needs and even more dire in rural communities, women and girls in those communities continue to bear the brunt of the conflict in disproportionate ways. Available research points to the fact that the average woman who menstruates has her period for a cumulative 3 to 7 days each month, and their lifetime uses between 10 to 35 pads a year and up to 16,800 sanitary products in the course of their lifetime at a cost of roughly 5 million francs CFAs. Research holds that limited access to menstrual hygiene products and facilities is the fifth pillar of females in our society today. In a spirited attempt to quickly reverse this trend, and especially its impact on young women and schoolgirls in the conflict within southern Cameroon, the Bamenda-based non-governmental organization Center for Advocacy in Gender Equality and Action for Development, the CAGID, has been shining the spot on the fact that since periods don't stop for conflict, a lot more attention needs to be paid in addressing the thorny issue of menstrual hygiene management, the MHM. The organization is functioning with the understanding that even though the conflict has put a lot of pressure and stress on the originally scarce resources, adolescent girls and young women need to have been largely overlooked. As part of its humanitarian response to the raging deadly conflict in Ambazonia precisely, and given the fact that adolescent school-going girls face numerous difficulties in managing the period as well as experiencing increased feelings of shame and discomfort, the CAGAD since partnered with UNFPA to begin addressing such concerns in especially hard to reach and underserved conflict within communities of Boyo, Mezam, and Donga Matun counties.
Well, the CAGAD initiative has been emphasizing key menstrual health issues at the concerned schools and communities. But it's not about having all of these emphases. We have already highlighted the issues that could arise because of lack of this basic sanitary pad. How can these girls be helped is a basic question. How can the war be stopped? How can life go back to normal so that these young girls can have access to safe spaces? Sexual and reproductive health education and services should be offered, and strategies that mitigate the stigma and shame surrounding menstrual health. Ensuring that adolescent schoolgirls have access to culturally appropriate menstrual products. They would have to be comfortable using as well as having access to safe toilets and bathing spaces. The female students are also being trained on how to produce reusable and affordable sanitary pads. It is a belief of the Center for Advocacy that when the war is stopped, such things can be enhanced. And so all hands needs to be on deck to ensure that this senseless war that has been ravaging Ambazonians and all her people be stopped so that girls can be safe and the plight can be reduced.
Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call plus 124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com. Payment method: www.abcambertv.com/donate. ABC Amber TV payment channels: Cash App 202-650-2216, Zelle 240-486-8768, Ambazonian Casting Corporation. PayPal donations at abcambertv.com. For more details, call plus 124 028 43 111. You can email us at info@abcambertv.com.
Well, away from the plight of women, now onto another plight. A tax is a compulsory contribution to state revenue levied by the government on workers' income and business profits, or added to the cost of some goods. A tax is in turn used for civil development. Now, this is the general definition of tax, but in a situation where the tax is not used to develop a people, road, or general infrastructure, what then should the people do? High tax on the people suffering inflation with no fund to market road, a people marginalized, is ridiculous. Then doubling the tax on the same people is highly terrible. The same people build their roads, provide power and healthcare, and even build high schools themselves. So why should they pay tax in the first place? In a community, traders help by themselves, since the colonial deals cannot account for the ones already paid for.
Well, logically, La Republic does not have the moral right to collect tax in a rural area. They aren't developing. Think about it. This is taxing people living below the poverty line already. According to a report from CNA, a shop owner in Elakoku has cried out on the new system instituted by the council this 2024. He explained that initially they paid 10,000 franc CFAs for global LL tax for each shop owner, but now from 10,000 franc CFAs, they are asked to pay 25,000. Can you imagine, on a people that are already suffering and marginalized? This is so sad because the traders kept on lamenting and explaining that La République du Cameroon's financial authorities do not care about their plight or pain, as has been seen by this action, and explains that when their shops get burned, these same colonial councils ask them all to rebuild their stores by themselves. Remember, these are people already paying taxes. So where do the taxes go?
Another question is, why does the government do, or what do the government do with the monies gotten from the tax? And why tax petty traders? Some Ambazonians reacted, and one striking comment is from one Eric Lenyo. He said, if what I understand is true, then the council authorities are really wicked considering the crisis and the high cost of living situation. The regional council should do something to make life worth living for the purpose of the people. And we also agree that this is what it should be. A people that are already marginalized, a people suffering from a lot, should be able to be provided for, and tax not being doubled. Well, moving on, Undaunted reported prior of a situation at the Bamenda main market, where the merchants of the market sealed their shops in protest of the Bamenda City Council's rent hike. Traders of the Ntarinkud market have joined the fight to pressure the Colonial Council to reverse the decision to increase the price of the rent. Undaunted, after investigation, realized that all three markets controlled by the Bamenda Council City Council have experienced rent hikes.
Well, an atmosphere of resistance took over in Tarinkan market in Bamenda as traders organized a spontaneous shutdown to demonstrate against significant rent hikes and the lack of a rebuilding strategy for the Bamenda main market after the destructive fire that wiped out more than 300 shops. The market, previously a vibrant hub of trade, now sits in an unsettling quietness, with traders deserting their shops and leaving behind signs of dissatisfaction. One says, "Let the Bamenda man breathe," a message on one of the placards, encapsulating the frustration of those struggling to rebuild their livelihoods amidst mounting challenges. Isn't it strange that after the burning of the markets, the city councils decided to increase shop rents by twice the price? Any right thinking person would assume that after such tragedy, these purported city mayors would provide succor and relief to the affected market persons to rebuild their lives, or at least get a budget from the powers above to renovate the market in order to help the 300 families get a fresh start in business. Again, but no. Ironically, here they are like enablers of the pains of Amazonia, increasing the price rent with no care for what will happen to the victims of the tragic fire outbreak.
Well, the lockdown at the Tarinco market is also observed at the market. Shop owners have closed their businesses for similar reasons. The traders at the main market are still grappling with the aftermath of the fire incident that left them stranded until today. The fire that ravaged the main market has had a lasting impact on the lives of traders, leaving behind a trail of destruction. Countless individuals are now struggling to make ends meet, unsure of what the future holds. Well, according to one of the traders, says we simply cannot handle these increases in the rent. The traders' demands reverberated through the deserted hallways of the market, their voices harmonized in a plea for fairness and assistance. The importance of a thorough reconstruction plan was emphasized, focused on not just restoring buildings, but also offering financial support to impacted businesses. Well, we are not seeking handouts, we are seeking the chance to reconstruct our lives and businesses, declared Beatrice, a market vendor with over a decade of experience selling fruits and vegetables.
Well, during the lockdown, traders recounted tales of perseverance and commitment, pledging to remain steadfast until their requests were fulfilled. The market, once bustling with activities, now serves as a powerful symbol of resistance, with its closed gates serving as a poignant reminder of the hardships endured by its determined inhabitants. Authorities such as local government representatives have not provided any statements regarding the developing situation. Bamenda market traders are being optimistic that their efforts will initiate productive conversations and result in concrete outcomes. While still on the Bamenda main market tragic fire incident, Archbishop Andrew Nkia paid a visit to the victims of the Bamenda main market inferno last Tuesday. To the dismay of the traders, the man of God came empty-handed and with words only. Archbishop Andrew Nkia's visit to the Bamenda main market was meant to show solidarity, but him coming empty-handed left the traders disappointed, with some accusing that the should not only receive but also give to the needy. While tangible support may have been lacking, the position of the church and the Catholic Church in particular to the people of Amazonia since the advent of the war of decolonization has been doubtful as well. The church via its leaders have been playing double standards, pretending to be sympathizers to the plight and the suffering of Amazonians, yet most times enabling the colonial move of La Republique du Cameroon.
Well, in what he called a consolidation visit, Archbishop of Bamenda, His Grace, Andrew Nkier, paid a surprise visit to the Bamenda main market on Tuesday, the 12th of March, showing solidarity and support for the victims of the fire that destroyed the market, resulting in the loss of at least 300 shops. The Archbishop visit to the inferno devastated businessmen and women was of no help as the man of God came empty-handed, of course. They were expecting good tidings. As Archbishop Nkier bid farewell to the Bamenda main market, he shared some message of courage, reminding them of the unwavering presence of God, saying no matter the difficulties that comes their way, they should prepare that God will never abandon his people. Well, this visit is part of Archbishop's ongoing support for the community in the aftermath of the tragic fire incident. He encouraged those impacted to remain hopeful and have faith in God's plan, encouraging the traders to draw inspiration from the book of Job. He urged them to find strength in their faith and become together in times of hardship.
While the reaction of the traders showed their desperate need for relief to rebuild their lives that was lacking from all in power. To one of the traders, servants of God are always on the receiving end and never giving. And according to him, all of us from God entrust the fact that God uses people to bless others. We enjoy the words of encouragement the Archbishop gave to us, but we expected more than just words. He has what it takes to mobilize funds to help us from here and abroad, but he is not doing so. So the Archbishop cannot be a tool in the hands of the Almighty God to bless us, he asked. Well, this recent fire at the Bamenda main market is the second incident to hit the area within a short period of time following another fire that occurred at a clothing shop. This goes a long way to show the negligence that the people of this particular incident have witnessed with nobody coming to their aid. Well, we hope for more engagement and proffering solutions to the loss of these traders.
Well, while La Republic de Cameroon has in recent times and in the past tried to sabotage Ambazonian's economy by outright destruction, the Ambazonian State Army have as well done their bit in successfully sabotaging theirs, as has been seen in the state of their coffers. One of such means of economic sabotage in La Republic of Cameroon is the burning of some products from the French Cameroon, like the brasserie products a contraband in Ambazonia by the government of Ambazonia. But the question is, why La Republic of Cameroon's insistence in bringing this contraband into Ambazonia?
Well, on Tuesday, March 12, 2024, Ambazonian State Army, in a patriotic act, attacked a truck that was carrying brewery products from brasseries, but tragically, two people lost their lives in the incident. According to reports, while the Ambazonian State Army were trying to divert the driver with guns from getting in with the contraband, they used the guns to deter him from the track. The driver lost control of the vehicle at Fishpond Hill in Bamenda, and as a result, the truck collided with two pedestrians, and sadly, it led to the death of one of these pedestrians. The driver as well, unfortunately, succumbed to his injuries and passed away shortly after. Witnesses described scenes of panic as the truck came under attack, with people scrambling away from the gunfire and the screeching sound of tires.
This attack is part of the ongoing resistance by the ASA against contraband like the brasserie products. It's really heartbreaking that the ASA were not trying to attack any civilians, but were trying to stop these trucks. But unfortunately, the civilian population has been a victim yet again.
Well, this is an opportunity for the ASA to reassess their strategies to upholding patriotism as they continue to make efforts to sabotage La Republique's economy, but more importantly, a reminder to Ambazonian civilians to stay clear of the brasserie products and other contraband in Ambazonia in order to avoid such tragic scenarios in the future.
This terrible incident just happened here at Fishpond Hill in Bamenda. According to the information we have gathered, the Ambazonian State Army chased the truck right behind me, a truck loaded with brasseries drinks. They chased this truck with the intention of gunning down the people in it. Apparently, one of the ASA succeeded to take a shot right at the front of this truck, and during this process, the driver lost control of the car. Instead of the car to move downwards towards the regional hospital, which was its initial path. As you can see, from here it lost track and rather passed through this man's store. Thank God.
Sovereign silhouette, the emblem of Ambazonia. From the azure embrace of the Atlantic reflecting from the Ambas Bay, the iconic Fako Mountain ascends with a silent, stoic grace, carving a silhouette against the sky. This towering sentinel is more than a geographical marvel. It is the heart of Southern Cameroon, Cameroons. The stoic guardian of Ambazonia, a symbol steadfast as the unyielding spirit manifests in the unity of the land's 13 counties. Encircling this earthen spire, a dove of peace edges its out, untouched and serene. As it soars with wings unfurled, it casts shadows upon the land, each feather a brushstroke of tranquility. Against the canvas of the heavens, 13 stars glimmer, a celestial acknowledgement of each county's shared dreams and harmonious virtues. The dove, in its eternal flight, is not merely a bird, but an embodiment of the collective longing for a peaceful existence under a shared identity. Beneath the mountain top, firmly grounded in the richness of the earth, twin elephant tusks rise as natural monuments. Their arcs, regal and commanding, capture the noble essence of the land spirit animals.
Well, on the African scene, the UK government plans to offer failed asylum seekers $3,836 to move to Rwanda. Different countries handle asylum seekers in their own ways. Some have programs to resettle refugees, providing housing, healthcare, and support. Others have stricter immigration policies. For Germany and Sweden in Europe have been accepting many asylum seekers, but some European countries have become more restrictive. In the US, there have been policy debates and changes, making the asylum process more complex. Each country faces unique challenges and considers factors like national security and public opinion. Well, for the British government, it has come up with a plan to address the backlog of rejected refugee applications. They are offering asylum seekers up to £3,000 each to voluntarily move to Rwanda. This is separate from their previous plan to forcibly deport asylum seekers, which was ruled unlawful by the Supreme Court. The new agreement with Rwanda is similar to an existing policy where asylum seekers are given financial assistance to return to their home countries. However, in this case, the money is provided if they agree to live in Rwanda instead.
Well, according to Calvin Hollerach, a junior business minister, this plan is a more cost-effective use of the public funds compared to keeping failed asylum seekers in the UK. There are many asylum seekers who have been refused but cannot be removed due to restrictions on returning them to war-torn or human rights challenged countries. According to him, says, now I know £3,000 is a significant amount, but it is actually a way to alleviate the financial burden of supporting these individuals in the UK. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is determined to address the issue of asylum seekers arriving on England's southern coast in small boats without permission. However, the Supreme Court ruled the previous deportation plan unlawful due to potential violations of human rights laws.
Well, to overcome legal challenges, Sunak's government is introducing legislation to declare Rwanda a safe country for asylum seekers. Rwanda currently has the capacity to accept a few hundred asylum seekers per year, but the British government believes this capacity can be increased. Sunak's aims to have the first deportation flights to Rwanda within the next few months, especially with a national election on the horizon. His goal is to fulfill his promise of stopping the boats.
Meanwhile, Kenya's president reaffirms commitment to deploy a police force to Haiti. Kenya's President William Ruto recently mentioned that Kenya will take the lead in a UN-backed multinational police force to help tackle gang violence in Haiti. This will happen once a transactional presidential council is formed in Haiti. Ruto had a chat with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken about it and assured him of Kenya's commitment to deploy a police force to Haiti.
Today that the United States Department of Defense is doubling its approved support for the mission from $100 million to $200 million. And that brings the total U.S. support to $300 million for this effort. I'm also announcing additional humanitarian assistance for the people of Haiti, $33 million to further support their health and food security. Support the plan to create a broad-based, inclusive, independent presidential college that would, in particular, first take concrete steps to meet the immediate needs of the Haitian people. Second, enable the swift deployment of the multinational security support mission. And third, through that deployment, through a reinforced Haitian National Police, create the security conditions that are necessary to hold free and fair elections.
Well, the deployment was put on hold until there is a clear administration in place in Haiti, but now with the signing of reciprocal agreements between Kenya and Haiti, things are moving forward. The goal is to address the escalating gang violence that has been causing chaos in Haiti. It's a tough situation, but hopefully this police force can help restore peace and security.
Well, in Rwanda, Victor Umuhoza Ngabire, a prominent critic of President Paul Kagame, faced a setback in her bid to run for president. The High Court in Kigali blocked her from contesting, citing her previous conviction. Ngabire expressed her disappointment, criticizing the judiciary and calling for a Rwanda that is free, democratic, and governed by laws. Some analysts believe that her previous conviction posed a major obstacle to her presidential aspirations. The situation highlights the political landscape in Rwanda, where critics point out the ruling party's dominance and limited public dissent. Well, coming up next, news across the globe.
On news across the globe, Moscow is ready to use nuclear weapons if there is a threat to the existence of the Russian state, but there has never been such a need. President Vladimir Putin said this in an interview with the state media, which was published yesterday. While the Russian leader made the comment to Rossiya and RIA Novosti ahead of presidential elections on the 15th of March, in which he is widely expected through to a fifth term in office, and as its full-scale war in Ukraine grinds into the third year. Putin said that from a military and technical standpoint, Russia is ready for a nuclear war, though he didn't say one was imminent.
Well, China, Russia, and Iran put on show for force with Mideast naval drills. Warships from China, Russia, and Iran have held live fire exercises in a key Middle Eastern waterway this week as the three partners put on a show of force in the volatile region, according to reports in state-run media. The drills near the Gulf of Oman, involving more than 20 ships from the three countries, are aimed at strengthening maritime cooperation and safeguarding regional peace and stability. A statement from the Chinese Defense Ministry said, echoing similar language from Iran and Russia. China's Navy sent a guided missile destroyer and guided missile frigate to the exercises. Russia dispatched the cruiser Varyag from its Pacific Fleet, and Iran contributed a range of vessels, including frigates and fast attack boats, according to state-run media.
Well, Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared in Russian state media warning that if U.S. troops appears in Ukraine, Russia will treat them as interventionist. He also said Russia is ready to use nuclear weapons if the country's existence is at stake. President Vladimir Putin warned the West on Wednesday that Russia was technically ready for nuclear war and that if the United States sent troops to Ukraine, the move would be considered a significant escalation of the war. Now, here are key facts about Russia's nuclear arsenal. Russia, which inherited the Soviet Union's nuclear weapon, has the world's biggest store of nuclear warheads. Putin controls about 5,580 nuclear warheads, according to the Federation of American Scientists Open News tab.
Well, U.S. orders Panama to remove flag from rogue Iranian ships. United States Special Envoy on Wednesday urged Panama to stop Iranian ships from flying its flag, which allows Tehran to evade sanctions imposed by Washington. The small Central American nation is the world leader in offering flags of convenience, which allows shipping companies to register their vessels in countries to which they have no link. For a fee and freedom from oversight, Iranian actors related to Iran are trying to evade sanctions here in Panama. They're trying to abuse Panama's flag registry, said Abraham Paley.
All right, with that report, we've come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, we'll give you a recap of our major stories.
Well, on Undaunted tonight, we brought to you a consolation visit from Archbishop Andrew Nkia. Also brought to you merchants of the entire market joining those of the Bamenda main market to seal their shops in protest of the Colonial City Council's rent hike. The high cost of living and the plight of the Ambazonian woman was also something we talked about.
Also tonight on Undaunted, we talked about the Colonial Council doubling tax of petty traders. Talked about heavy-duty drivers protest bad upstation downtown road conditions in Bamenda. All the Africans saying we told you that Kenya's president has reaffirmed commitment to deploy a police force to Haiti, while Putin says he is ready to use his missile. All right, and that's it for tonight's Undaunted, bringing to the news untold stories. On behalf of Sir Smart and the entire Undaunted crew, we say thank you for tuning in.
We'll leave you with ABC Amber TV images. Good night, and God bless you.